blossomed. They are too big for the tent now. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm figuring out just how much you have to know to grow at home. I'm feeding them, doesn't matter how much water I'm feeding them, they want more. They're always too dry in there. Like, there's humidity conditions, and there's all kinds of lighting, and geez, it's not an easy thing to figure out. But if I, like you and my good friend, wanted to figure out how to make my own strain, where would I start?
With patience and a lot of record keeping. You know what I mean? That's the most important thing. You want to know what you're crossing and where you're getting it from. Let's say how your friend gave you your 4 little plants and you're like, I want to keep one. Keep some clones, you know what I mean? Make a mom, keep it in Rolodex. I think the original Chem Dog 95 is like super old and somebody still from myths. I don't know, but I'm told it's still alive somewhere in Massachusetts. That, you know, yeah, so you can get that, but you're talking about maybe $1,000 to $3,000 a cut from this very old mom for you to do that. But if you want to breed and make your own strand, have patience, don't rush anything. You have to, I guess you have to have the willingness to either do 12 at a time out of 100 and keep it going. And it's going to take you longer to do it legally. Because and that's one thing I don't know if the home thing is if you're allowed to have 12 mature plants or
I think it's 12 mature here, but there are some states where it's just 6 mature and like 6 babies. And
yes, so you have to figure that out for your state, because if you have to do 6 at a time, you'll have to, you know what I mean, you have to video record your 6. So when I'm doing 100, I can say okay, these 10 are too small, get rid of them. These 10 didn't pop. Those 10 are shooting ugly leaves, get rid of that. All right, well, I have 40 now that I want to take to flower, or I want to take through veg. Then I let them go through veg. And then, all right, these, 10 are growing way slower than the other 10, get rid of them.
So this is how you whittle it down to the very best of the best.
Yeah. So I might go into flower with 12. I might go into flower with 12. If I'm able to, I would go, I'd like to do a quarter. So I would like to start 100, get down to 25, and then flower out those 25, and then go with it. And then once I find one, then I'll take that one and do it again. I'll clone her. Before I flower, I clone and label everything. So I know this clone came from this plant. So when they finish, I have that clone. And let's say I find 1 or 3. Then I take those 3 and I put them through other challenges. I mess up the pH on purpose. I stress it out. I let it dry out. And then, I see who takes the abuse better. It just matters what I'm breeding for. What I mean? I could be breeding for resiliency. I can be breeding for height. I can be breeding for potency. I can be breeding for bag appeal. Like your friend, he's breeding for his pain medication. So for him, he might not care how big or how fast it works. He's looking for how much, he effectively gets certain cannabinoids to, hit his CB1 and CB2 to give him that pain relief.
Exactly. You said bag appeal? You mean that you want to grow a beautiful looking purple frosty bud?
Yeah, and that doesn't always translate to good everything else with the plant.
Really?
It's not.
I've always thought that if I see a really nice, I've judged some like Harvest Cup entries, and one of the categories that I care about is how it looks and how well it's formed, and sort of how it feels when I squash it. And do you not think that much of that translates to how it feels inside you when you smoke it?
No, I mean, that's a catch-22 question, because you can have both, but in my opinion, and I've been around to a lot of different states and tried their cannabis, and it was hilarious how you brought up Purple Urkel. I bought 32% THC flower that was pretty, like one of the most beautiful things I've seen, crusted up, and I smoked it, and then I smoked this prepackaged $99 ounce of Purple Urkel that had 13% THC, and that was the best flower I've ever smoked. We have to remember that before we got this market, we were smoking bags of sticks and seeds and getting extremely high. So there's a lot of things in life. If you put a lot into how it looks, then what are you taking away from it? Are you pushing a plant to now have more THC, but are you getting rid of other cannabinoids that make you have what we call like the euphoria effect or the entourage effect? Are you missing out of those things? what are you actually getting from your cannabis? And I think if you're growing for cannabis caps and you're growing for bag of pills smell, then you're missing out of somewhere else. You can't have everything. You know what I mean? And there are some strands that give you a lot, but I've noticed the ones that are green and regular looking, they just hit differently. You know, they give me that punch.
I agree. I actually don't prefer the ones that are sort of purple. I don't love the ones that smell really lemony or citrusy.
Okay.
I kind of like the ones that smell oily and like diesel. And I like a really fresh green bud, something that's springy to the touch. These are the ways that I analyze my bud when I'm in the dispensary. But there are a lot of people that look at the labels. There are a lot of people that go to like leafly.com and check out all of the different effects and reviews and everything like that. How would you recommend somebody picks their bud at a dispensary?
Well, you have to know yourself. You know, there are people who love luxury. So a lot of this, the CB1 and the CB2 receptors, the CB1 is mostly found in your nervous system. So that also can be controlled by your mind, in my opinion. So if you are a person who is a visual person, who you get your joy and you learn from what you see, then for you to get the effect out of the bud, you may need it to be gorgeous. If you're a person who learns through your audio and you learn through taking things in, then you might not be a bag of pill person. But the reason why the green is better, and I've been trying myself to force myself to learn these terms, but I don't. There's something that happens in a plant, and a lot of plants, when you take away the chlorophyll production, and you can do that by lowering the temperatures. And some plants naturally do it through their phenol profile, but most plants don't. And they're forced to do it. Like, I can drop the temperatures in my building and turn almost everything purple. But what that does is it robs, and we all know this from science class, the thing that makes the plant grow is chlorophyll, the production from the sun and all that fun stuff. So when you now make the plant use, and it starts with an A, it uses that molecule to take in sun and make things, turn the CO2 and do all of that. Instead of using chlorophyll, now you're using a secondary method, which is not going to be as strong. So you're not going to get a stronger bud from a purple plant unless it's in its phenol than a plant that is naturally bright green, because that is what cannabis come from. I think we've bred in that purple from different strands, and those strands are weaker. My weaker THC are the prettier ones. I have a jelly brush strand that is purple and gold looking, but that one usually hits around 17 to 20%. I have one that is bright green that is at 27. So, but once again, we're having an argument about, is THC really that important to how high you get?
Yeah, I actually prefer something that's in the mid-teens. I think that anything that's much higher than that kind of sets off my paranoia, and I feel uncomfortable in my body a lot of the time. I used to live out in California. I went to college out there, so, I was smoking most days. that really good Bay Area weed. Before that, I was living down in San Diego, and it was very different down there. But across most of California, I could tell you, like, the average THC was 20 to 30% in most dispensaries. Over here in Massachusetts, it's more like you can get something from 13 to 25%. It's just a little bit lower. And I agree with you. I actually don't think that higher THC means a better bud. I don't think that more purple means a better bud. It's really an individualized experience. And so I think a lot of it is trial and error. When I first started going to dispensaries, and I realized I don't just have to ask my friend what they've got today, like I can go and pick, I would go and smell them all and look at all of them, and I don't know, I just see which one my body sort of vibed with and which one felt like it smelled good to me. Do you think that I could really tell from smelling, or was I just talking myself into it?
No, I mean, you both. But there's multiple terpenes that do different things. So like your lemony one, that one for you, your CB1 and your CB2, those are two different receptors. And for me, mine's control my body differently than you. So we have a whole endocannabinoid system within our bodies and all of our organ. And a lot of times you may be a person that take in THC through your CB2. You know what I mean? So like I have a friend here, we would smoke literally the same exact bud. And for him, it's sleepy effect. And for me, I'm euphoric and I'm up, and I'm a thinker. So for somebody who uses more than likely his nervous system way more than other people, give me something that stimulates my mind, then boom, I'm going to feel it more. Whereas there's people out there who might use their bodies more, their CB2 receptors, they go off more when they take in THC. So for them, they're smoking something that does affect their body, would hit them harder in a different way.
I agree. It is all about learning about how you interact with the plant, because it's rare that it will be the same experience with someone else. I actually had a friend who came over to my place once, and she tried the same weed that I was really giggly on, and she had a panic attack. And, that's why I often have CBD on hand, just in case I try a strain that just did not hit me right, or I can, I have a friend over who didn't enjoy it. I just find CBD can really lessen the high and sort of end it faster. So speaking of curating certain strains for certain experiences, let me ask you a little more about what you do at JustinCredible, because you said that you have your own strains. So can you tell me what you guys have been growing?
Okay, so we tier our cannabis. They're all the same tier as in quality, but we tier it based upon availability. So we have our vintage tier where we have our Blue Dreams, our White Widows, some of the OGs, Super Silver Haze, Chocolate OG. There are older people who go into dispensaries and they don't want to hear the alien test. They remember they smoke Blue Dream. They're going to go get Blue Dream, and it's safe, it's comfortable. So I have that strains for them. And then we have what we call our JustinCredible tier, which is the ones that we're going to put out along with our vintage tier with the frequency. So in that one, we have our Garrett Morgan gas mask. That's one of my favorites. It's that bright green. I love I love the terpene profile that smells like fresh air, like a mountain. I love that profile. So for me, the Garrett Morgan gas mask have that. It has a lineage with Granddaddy Perp, King Jack, and a nice lemon lime plant. All those came together in a nice combination of big, fat, beautiful buds that give you a nice mellow high. After that, we have a variety of strands. We have the Gorilla Glue #4. We have Gelato Twist. We have Sunlados. So we have those strands, Wedding Cake, that we're releasing on that tier as more bulky. Taffy is one of our ones. And we got Taffy from a breeder here in Massachusetts who breeds and been breeding for like 20 years here. So he gave us our Taffy strands. If you guys want to go visit him, is Here We Grow in Hadley. Doug is amazing. He's been breeding forever. So that's our I don't want to say middle tier, but those two are released at the same frequency. And then we have our tier called Just in a Lifetime. And those are tier we're dropping very small, frequent batches of. And those were housed on our JustinCredible. And our JustinCredible is a rock star. It throws off naturally the purple, but not too much. It's like a light purple. So it's still very green within it. It has a very nice sweet aroma. That one, for some people, it gets you really stoned. I like it for a medicinal purpose of pain relief. It does a lot of pain relief, but it also, if you smoke enough of it, will get you really spacey and giggly. So for people who want that nostalgia, my first time high, it gets you as close as you're going to get to that one. We also have our Jelly Breath. That one, and it's not going to hit high in THC. It's going to hit, maybe low 18 to 22. But this is I think the women, you guys will love this strand. I feel like it matches. It's just beautiful. It's femininity. Anybody will know me. I go by like the minimalist cultivator, but I'm also, 100% backed by women all around me. So I did this strand for the ladies. It's just gorgeous. It just reminds me of what if I could pack my grow full of, feminine energy, it would be Jelly Breath and JustinCredible's Running Wild. And that one is for the taste palette. If you like to taste your weed and you want to, let's say, vape it instead of dry herb vape it, instead of rolling a joint, or even if you do get taste from your paper joints or your pre-rolls, Jelly Breath is one for those who, on a Saturday, I don't want to smoke and be done with my day. I want to smoke and do, I want to be at a party. You know what I mean? If I'm at a friend's house and we're playing board games, you break out the Jelly Breath and everybody's going to want to hit it.
Right on. Oh my gosh, you sound like you've been working on some incredible stuff. I'm hoping to try some soon. I've been going around all the different dispensaries in Massachusetts and buying locally grown stuff from